like to call this meeting of the Westland City Council to order, please. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, tonight led by David Zaks and Sophia Juhas. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you'll stay right there, Councilman Hart will be right down to talk to you for a couple minutes. Look at that, they're not moving an inch.
Hey kids, how you doing? Doing good, yeah. Why don't you go ahead and turn around, and now you're going to stand here and look at everybody so everybody can see you. There you go. Well, I'm playing relief hitter today, so it's my honor to go ahead and introduce David and Sophia. They came from Edison Elementary, and my kids went to Edison Elementary too, so I know you guys are going to be great students. That's why you're here today. So first, I'm going to introduce David. All right, so David is 9 years old, and his birthday is September 17th, and he's in the 4th grade in Miss Mueller's homeroom class. He likes supercars. Now, I like supercars too. So what's your favorite? Lamborghini, Ferrari, Bugatti? Which one? Whoa, he's got one I don't know about. What?
Koenigsegg R.
Oh, the Koenigsegg. Okay, that's a sharp car too. I'm a fan of the local Ford GT too, so give that one a look. So he has a pet fish named Oliver, and who didn't? It's a male betta fish, which is red in color. He lives with his dad, Paul, his mom, Liliana, and little Bianca, who is in the 1st grade. His favorite subject is math. You're going to need a lot of math when you're designing those supercars and getting a lot of performance out of them. And he's been named author of the month 3 years in a row. And he's not been Citizen of the Month yet. I hope to be named Citizen of the Month very soon. On weekends, he gets to play his Xbox on his tablet. And his favorite thing to play is, go figure, Need for Speed 2015. Have you met Police Officer Jed Dragusik, our chief here yet? You might want to meet with him before you get your driver's license. Let's see. Bianca likes to play Minecraft. My parents were born in Romania, and I was born in the U.S., so he's a first-generation American. Welcome. First-generation All-American, right? One day when we moved to a house, I want to buy a baby German Shepherd. So that's a lot of work. I got an Australian Shepherd, so I can't imagine a German Shepherd. So David, we got a little certificate for you, and I'm going to peel it out and hand it to you, so just stand fast. There you are. And Sophia, you didn't think I was going to get to you, did you? This is Sophia. She is 9 years old and was born on May 30th. I'm May 27th, so I'm a fellow Gemini, too. We don't even understand ourselves. I get your pain. I have a mom, dad, grandma, and a little brother, Aiden, who lives with me. I also have 2 dogs, 2 cats, and 5 fish. She loves Legos and hanging with the family. I love Legos too. I used to have a pile of them. My dad kept stepping on them, so I had to go put them away. Your parents step on your Legos too? Yeah, I figure. She loves cheese and crackers, especially with dipping nacho cheese. She says she loves, loves, loves the Avengers, and she was excited to see the end game on opening weekend. Don't give away any spoilers yet, but it was pretty good. Can you believe that? Crazy. Her favorite animal is a seahorse, which is a tropical fish. So thanks for coming out. I have a certificate for you as well. So here you are. Just hold on to that for a minute. Where'd she go? Ms. Swanson, you want to come up and say something about these outstanding students that I haven't said already?
Thank you. So yes, these are definitely representatives of Edison's finest. I'm always honored to be able to come and present some of Edison's amazing individuals.
Thank you very much. Parents, you can come up and get a photo. I'd love to have you up here. Parents, friends, family, interested people in the audience.
Anyone who wants to claim them?
Sarah, for our young students.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green. Present. Councilman Hammonds is absent, excused. Councilman Hart. Here. Councilman Hersberg. Here. Councilman Johnson is absent, excused. Councilman Londo. Here. President Godbout.
Present.
A quorum is present.
We'll begin with announcements and presentations. Ruth?
Good evening, everyone. Ruth Dale, Westland. I have two announcements pertaining both to historical. First, the Westland Historical Society will be meeting in 2 days on May the 8th at 7 o'clock at the Historical Park on Wayne Road. Second announcement, there's going to be a lecture on Motor City's National Heritage Area. That will be May 14th at the Historical Park, Wayne Road, between Marquette, Cherry Hill, and the Octagon House at 7 o'clock. Our historic Nankin Mills on Hines Drive, Ann Arbor Trail actually serves as a gateway hub for the Middle Rouge section of the Motor City's National Heritage Area. This was established in 1998, and we are one of 55 of these areas in the United States. Motor Cities commemorates and promotes the automobile industry in Metro Detroit, and there are portions in other counties. Again, lecture date, May 14th, Historical Park, 7 o'clock. Come join us for this interesting and informative Motor Cities lecture. Thank you.
Thanks. Don?
Thank you, President Godbout, Council, Mayor. Here to actually talk about the car show that we're putting on May 16th at the Friendship Center. Want to invite everybody to come on down, bring your classic car, Jim, and everything else. So come on down even if you don't have a classic car. This is a free event. We put it on for free. There's no entry fee for cars, spectators, or anything. But bring your money, because we're going to get it out of you one way or another with a raffle ticket or a hot dog or something to drink, and just having a good time. Some entertainment is the cars. And I just wanted to, woman before me mentioned Motor City's National Heritage Area. Their actual job is to preserve, promote, and educate in auto and auto labor history. I happen to sit on their executive board, so I'm happy to be a great conversation with Brian Yop down there on the 14th. So, but come on out on May 16th to the Friendship Center, and come on out and let's have a good time. Thank you.
Thanks. Mary?
Good evening, Councilman Godbout, the entire council, to the mayor, and to all the dignitaries here and the fine citizens of Westland. I bring you greetings from the office of Wayne County Commissioner Glenn Anderson, and I want to remind you of the Wayne County Commissioner Glenn Anderson's free senior appreciation dinner, and that's Wednesday, June the 12th, from 5 until 7 p.m. And it's at Burton Manor, and that's at 2777 Schoolcraft Road in Livonia. And you can join the commissioner for free dinner in honor of the seniors. There will be pasta, salad, cake, entertainment, door prizes, and it'll just be a nice time to meet and greet. Now, so of course, it's only for District Number 12. It's really great to be in District Number 12. And of course, that's Westland, Inkster, and Garden City. Now, you have to RSVP. And before I tell you how to RSVP, you must be a for real senior and not a AARP senior, because I think they start getting their letters at 49, right? They start getting theirs at 49. But this is the real deal. So you need to be at least 60 years or over and a resident of the 12th Commission District. And it's limited to 300 seniors. So that's all the 3 cities. So please RSVP right away if you want to make sure your face is in the place. And the number is 313-224-8255. 8855. Now, when you RSVP, you can only RSVP for 2 people. Don't get all your friends and neighborhoods and your clubs to RSVP for. You can only RSVP for 2 individuals. Be sure to tell the others to RSVP for themselves. It's going to be a great time. I'm sure those of you that were there last year, you had a great time, and it'll be equally a nice time this year. I have flyers as a reminder to those who need the number and a reminder of the event. I'll be more than happy to give one to you before I leave. Also, I want to remind you that on Saturday, May the 11th, from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m., household hazardous waste collection. And that is at Henry Ford College, 5101 Evergreen Road, and that's in Dearborn, just south of Ford Road. And it's from 8 until 2. Now, we all know that hazardous waste would include paint, it would be floor wax, ladies, the fingernail polish, glue, fertilizer, motor oil, gasoline, all of those things are household hazardous waste collection items. And you're more than happy to take your items there for pickup. So thank you. It's more than a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. We'll move on to citizens' questions or input on the agenda. Citizens will be recognized before the business of the meeting commences to address the council pertaining to items that are specifically on the business agenda. Citizens are asked to limit their questions or input to 3 minutes. Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Yes.
Richard Graham from Westland and also with Move Westland Forward. On page 5 of the vouchers under Personnel Department, training reimbursement for Michael Landau for $195. What type of training was this? And did this have some sort of pre-approval that was given? Under the consent calendar item I, the Redevelopment Ready Communities Program with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Would be interested to know more about this program and what companies are ready to participate. Please advise how we can learn more. New business item 1 and a new fiscal year budget approval. Question, are there any additional police officers and firefighters that are part of this budget above the current budgeted workforce numbers? So an increase in officers. It is very concerning, the significant drop in grant revenues, over 20% less revenue from grants, and now is only around $1.5 million in the budget. Also very concerning, as other communities continue to thrive in our economic boom in Southeast Michigan, our revenues are actually sliding backwards. We should be targeting double-digit growth to overcome the increase of expenditures that are within this budget. I would frankly send this back to the mayor and figure out how to grow the business. The fund balance is eroding away at just over $11 million. Very poor after 11 years of this administration. Under new business item 2, based on the salary and benefits the taxpayers are now paying, significantly more in salary, benefits, and expenses for our Parks and Rec director and a new made-up facilities director position. The Parks and Rec director position, in my opinion, will be a stepping stone to other career advancements based on making less than $20 per hour as a director. As a comparison, the new economic director is making over $40 an hour. Thank you.
Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? We'll close citizens' comments on the agenda and move on to the consent calendar. Motion by Councilman Landau, supported by Councilman Hart. There was a question on item I. Aubrey?
So through the chair, the Redevelopment Ready Communities certification program is through the MEDC. Basically, it's 3 steps. The engagement is what we're doing right now, passing the resolution. I've attended the trainings. The program looks at they've established 6 best practices that they asked us to align ourselves with. And so we start going through a evaluation process and kind of aligning ourselves with the best practices that the state has come up with. And then at that time, we become eligible for grant funding and technical assistance from the state of Michigan.
Thanks. Are there any questions from the council? Any questions from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
Council has approved the following consent calendar items. The individual minutes of the regular meeting, study session, and closed study session held April 15, 2019. Approval of a request from St. John's Episcopal Church to conduct a fall festival on their property on Saturday, October 5, 2019, which will include serving beer and wine on the premises as part of the event. Approval of a request from the Wayne Westland Veterans Parade Council to amend the parade route for their annual Wayne Westland Memorial Day Parade to be held May 26, 2019. The original request was approved September 17, 2018. The parade will now begin at John Glenn High School on Marquette and proceed north on Carlson to the Westland Veterans Memorial Garden behind the William P. Faust Public Library. Approval of bid for traffic control equipment. Administration recommended split awarding this contract between the 2 low bidders, Custom Signals Incorporated in the amount of $56,736 and Eland City Incorporated in the amount of $44,192. Approval of MDOT contract number 195105 for the purpose of concrete sidewalk construction work along the south side of Marquette from Newburgh to Wayne Road and all other necessary related work. The total cost of this project, $284,200. The city's share of this cost is $64,200, and the mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the contract on behalf of the city. Adoption of the Taco Bell at 37500 Ford Road, long-term maintenance of stormwater management system and corresponding maintenance agreement executed by the developer. The mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Approval of partnership agreement between the City of Westland and Wayne Westland Community Schools Construction Technology Program for the rehabilitation of one property at 615 South Schuman. The mayor and city clerk are designated to sign the partnership agreement, and the Director of Housing and Community Development is designated to sign all other documents on behalf of the city related to the upcoming construction and sale of the property to an eligible home buyer upon completion of the project. Approval of partnership agreement between the City of Westland and Habitat for Humanity for the rehabilitation of one property at 28943 McDonald. The mayor and city clerk are designated to execute the memo of understanding to implement the project, and the Director of Housing and Community Development is designated to execute all other documents related to the rehabilitation and the sale of the property to an eligible home buyer. Adoption of resolution proclaiming the week of May 12 through 18, 2019 as Police Week in the City of Westland. Adoption of prepared resolution of intent to participate in the Redevelopment Ready Communities program with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Adoption of proclamation to proclaim the months of June through August as Play Ball Summer in the City of Westland. The last item approved on the consent calendar, adoption of proclamation to establish May 7th as Michigan Foster Care Day throughout the City of Westland. Moving to new business, item 1. Public hearing for the proposed 2019-2020 budget. This public hearing date was set March 4, 2019.
Before we begin with the citizens' input on the public hearing, Dan, if you'd like to give a little summary of the budget.
Through the chair, the 2019-20 proposed budget is a $68 million balanced budget. It adds over $334,000 to the general fund's fund balance, preserves unassigned fund balance at approximately $6.7 million, and still funds the pension and retiree health care obligations. The tax, there are no tax millage rate increases proposed in the budget. The 19-20 proposed budget is a productive budget. It has many capital reinvestments throughout the city. Those reinvestments include major and local road improvements that approximate to around $4.3 million. Water and sewer capital projects at around $4.8 million. The budget also includes 3 new police vehicles, safety equipment for police and fire, website redesign for enhanced user experience, workstation improvements for enhanced security, handicap parking at Jefferson Barnes Community Vitality Center, and many other equipments and improvements.
Thanks. This is a public hearing. Any citizen, oh, I'm sorry, Steve?
Sorry. Through the chair, just want to answer Mr. Graham's questions on the budget for the police officers and the firefighters. So there were 2 grants that expired last year, so that's one reason the grant revenue is down. But also, as the grants expired, the city continued to fund those positions. There are 4 patrol officers and 3 firefighters in the current year budget. And going forward into next year's budget, those positions also have been funded, so.
Thanks. Again, this is a public hearing. Any citizen wishing to speak once at a public hearing may do so for up to 3 minutes. Is there anyone on my left? Yes.
Ruth Dale. As I stated at the budget study session, I'm still very disappointed that there was no increase in the Historical Commission budget. With all the new things coming up, no increase whatsoever. Disappointed.
Anyone on my right? Ray?
I heard there's money for the park and handicap parking for Jefferson Barnes. I hope they're putting in it, because if it's in the budget, they should fix that parking over there. For people, it'd be a lot easier for people, accessibilities to park and walk to the building. Thank you. That's the only comment, and maybe, hopefully the budgets could hire a couple more police officers. Thank you.
Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Mr. Graham?
Richard Graham from Westland, and also with Move Westland Forward. One item, the Historic Commission actually did see an increase. It was less than $200, but you did get an increase of about $180, about 1%.
How much?
About 1%, less than $200, you got an increase. So,
Thank you.
yep. Interesting that the comment was a balanced budget. You know, when I see total revenues of $66,743,000 and change, and expenditures of over $68 million, that's a deficit of $1.4 million. And even in here, a slight increase, slight decrease. So I don't know how you balance a budget, except obviously if you take from your savings. So to me, it's really not, it's a fake balanced budget, I guess I should say, because you're dipping into your ending fund balance by $1.4 million. Again, in a time of economic boom, everything is growing in surrounding communities. Detroit, everything you read, amazing that we're falling that far behind. Through the chair to Mr. Smith, thank you for your comments on the police and fire, but my question was additional police officers, meaning additional above, if they're at 50 police 50 police today and 50 firefighters today, what is that increase in employment? Is it 51, 52, or is it staying flat? My assumption from the answer is it is staying flat, and again, for how many year upon year, there's no increase in employment, actual additional workforce numbers. So would like still get that answer if we're adding to our total numbers. Thank you.
Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Is there a motion to close public hearing?
Motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close by Councilman Herzberg. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 2, approval of amendment to the 2019 appointed officials and mayor's office pay plan, adding grade 6 for the Parks and Recreation Director position in the amount of $40,000 as previously approved by City Council on April 15, 2019.
Sir, motion by Councilman Hart. Is there support? Support by Councilman Landau. Is there any discussion? There was a question in regards, or I'm not sure if it was a question or more of a statement, but.
Statement.
Okay. Is there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 3, introduction of final statement for the Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan, July 1, 2019 through June 30, 2020.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Landau, supported by Councilman Herzberg. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Councilwoman Green?
Yes. I'd like to know, this, number 4 is asking us to waive the procedure in order to introduce and adopt the final statement for the 2019-2020 budget year. These funds are, from what I understand, are not supposed to be available until July, and we have not yet approved the 2019-2020 budget. The council president sent an email that if we had any other questions regarding the departments within the budget, to let him know by this coming Friday so that we can schedule study sessions accordingly. So I'm curious, why are we being asked to pull out your section, and that's through the chair to Joanne, pull out your section of the budget that we have not approved yet, as if there's some sort of urgency? I'd just like to understand this request, and why are we going to waive a procedure if it is normal process? Thank you.
Joanne?
Yes, thank you through the council president. The Community Development Block Grant budget is separate from the city's budget. We are required to submit the budget to HUD by May 15th with city council approval, and it is routinely on the first agenda of the agenda of the meeting in May in this format, and approved by council so that we can prepare what is required for HUD and submit by May 15th as required.
Okay, so just so I understand clearly, you have to get city council to approve it before you can submit it to HUD for review?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 4, waive procedure in order to introduce and adopt in the same meeting the final statement for the Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan, July 1, 2019 through June 30, 2020.
Motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Councilman Herzberg. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 5, adoption of final statement for the Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan, July 1, 2019 through June 30, 2020.
Motion by Councilman Landau. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 6, adoption of prepared resolution adopting the CDBG and home program funded projects and programs listed in the final statement budget by the Westland City Council. The city administration is authorized to prepare and submit the CDBG Annual Action Plan 2019-2020 to the U.S. Department of HUD, and both the city administration and city attorney are authorized to prepare and execute the necessary agreements to implement the aforementioned projects and programs.
Is there a motion by Councilman Hersberg? Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously.
New business item 7, confirmation of appointment of Leslie Fleming to the Economic Development Corporation Tax Increment Authority to fill an unexpired term with the term to expire March 19, 2021.
Motion by Councilman Landau, supported by Councilman Hart. Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Council. Mrs. Fleming is the Director of Marketing and Business Development for Prime Healthcare Garden City Hospital. And as you know, Garden City Hospital will soon be operating a medical facility within the Tiffin District. Ms. Fleming's in the audience here tonight, and we are working currently with her on an exciting healthy passport partnership between the City of Westland and Garden City Hospital.
Thanks. Is there any discussion from the council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. Ms. Fleming, if you'd like to stand and be recognized.
New business item 8, confirmation of appointment of Alex Albritton to the Local Development Finance Authority to fill an unexpired term with the term to expire February 5, 2022.
Motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Councilman Hersberg. Mayor?
Thank you. Mr. Albritton's in the audience here tonight. Alex has been an active resident of the City of Westland for more than 10 years, and he has a very established 30-year career doing media, communications, and voiceover work.
Thanks. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, motion carries unanimously. Alex, if you'd like to be recognized.
New business item 9, approval of voucher.
Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Landau. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart. There was a question on item on page 5. Mr. Smith?
Yes, through the chair to Mr. Graham. The reimbursement was for Michigan Municipal League Conference. It was regarding budgeting and financial statements. And that was what that one was for. That's it.
Is there any further discussion from the council? Any discussion? Councilwoman Green?
Yes, I have several questions. Page 5, 3 or 4 above Michael Landau's reimbursement request, there's just under $900. It says conference, and that reference to conference, I've seen that in several areas of the budget, and it's not identifying who went to that conference or what it was for. If you can please explain that.
Through the chair, there was 2 charges there. One was for the clerk conference, and the other one was for the personnel director conference, the Capitol conference in Lansing.
Okay. Same deal. Let me go back to the page. There is a conference reimbursement request that just says conference on page 3/4 like maybe 10 or 11 down. And then underneath that, there is a conference reimbursement request for Mark McConnell, Judge Mark McConnell, who is also an elected official here in the city. Can you tell me explain who this other conference reimbursement fee is for? And why is there no notation on the payables to reference who this conference reimbursement is for?
Okay, through the chair, any questions with regards to the court? They can answer their questions with regards to the court, but the conference says Mark McConnell on the one I'm.
Yeah, the one just above that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We can get with the court and find out exactly what that's for.
Okay. I also had questions on page 12, under the sanitation. We're paying the second half of May and then June in advance. There's a roll-off fee paid to Midwest Sanitation at the bottom of that column, and then we're paying another roll-off fee to Republic Services. I'm assuming these are for recycling. If you can clarify, and if these are for recycling, because we're making payments to two different companies, are we still paying the garbage company the amount of money for recycling, based on the recycling contract? Are we still paying him based on that, although the trash is being now taken to a landfill?
Through the chair, the invoices for Republic are for the dumpsters at our DPS yard. And yes, some of those are for the recycling. The roll-offs for Midwest Sanitation, I think you're referring to, are roll-offs at other city buildings. So there's a separate pickup for those.
Okay, through the chair to the mayor, is there any plans to make an adjustment to the current pay schedule, that fee schedule that we're paying the trash company now that everything is going to the landfill until we find a recycling alternative? And do we know if we're losing money, or are we paying him more by keeping that recycling contract in place, although we don't recycle anymore? Or would it save us money to revise the contract?
Mayor.
You had a few different questions there. Which one would you like me to tackle first?
Well, we're not recycling anymore in the city of Westland. So are there any plans to revise the contract that we're currently paying him for recycling services, because we're no longer recycling? Everything is going to a landfill. Are there any plans to revise that contract? And do we know if we're saving money by paying him according to that recycling contract and leaving it as is, or if we would save money by adjusting it based on what he's actually doing in the city, which is taking everything to the landfill until we find a recycling alternative?
So we pay the trash hauler for the labor to take the recyclables, either to be to the recycling center or to the landfill. So he gets paid the same regardless of which place it goes to. So we know that by taking it to the landfill, it costs us about $10 more a ton than it did previously at the recycling facility before they raised our price. So at this point, I don't think there's any change that needs to be made to his contract. I think that we're continuing to try to look for either a short-term and a long-term solution, but that's probably going to be a discussion that's going to be ongoing.
Okay. Thank you. And my last statement is there are reimbursements in this voucher for the clerk, who is an elected official, the judge, who is an elected official, Michael Landau, who is a city council elected official just as I am. There were 2 conference reimbursements made to the council president and the mayor, who are also elected officials here in the city, and they were reimbursed without issue at the last meeting. However, my reimbursement was denied for conference. These are all conferences, and there, as the city attorney stated, there is nothing in the policy that made my request illegal. It was a public meeting, there was nothing fraudulent, and the city council denied my request, which I believe was discriminatory. And I'm making a motion that we table all conference reimbursement requests that are currently on this voucher for every elected official until such time that council meets and drafts a written policy for conference reimbursement that every elected official has to follow. I find it terribly improper, to use one word, and offensive, that you all would deny my conference request, and through the chair to the council president, can you please tell me why you did not make a motion to table any of these conference reimbursement requests? You didn't make a motion to table, but you made a motion to table mine. Can you please explain the reasoning behind your motion?
Councilwoman, you made a motion that is not debatable.
I withdraw my motion, and I will ask that you answer the question through the chair to the city council.
We are on the vouchers.
Yeah,
This has nothing to do with.
I am talking about vouchers. You made a motion to deny my conference reimbursement for hotel only when you all submit for food, travel, mileage, airfare, and hotel. And I asked for hotel, and city council, based on your motion, denied it. So can you please explain to me, with all of these elected officials on this voucher, why you have not made a motion to table theirs?
I did not make a motion to deny. I made a motion to table.
You voted to deny it.
Me. No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
We did not vote to deny that voucher.
It's in the meeting minutes that we just approved. Me and Peter were the only yeses, and all the rest of you
That was to remove
voted,
from the table, Councilwoman.
which denied it. That's the process according to
opinion.
Robert's Rules of Order. So can you haven't answered my question.
And I have no intention to debate this during the
I'm not asking you for a debate.
motion on the vouchers.
I'm asking you to explain why you treated me differently than the men that I'm serving with. Why would you make a motion to pull mine and then ultimately vote in a manner that would avoid me being reimbursed? And all of these elected officials are on this voucher, and you haven't said a word about pulling theirs. Can you please explain the difference between me and them?
The reason I made the motion to table at that meeting was there was extended debate over whether that item should be reimbursed or not. So rather than to continue the debate at that meeting, because it was clear we weren't going to get a resolution as to the validity of the expense, that was why I made a motion to table.
Respectfully, through the chair, you made a motion to table mine. You haven't asked one question about any of the others. Your action was, you treated me different, and so did every other council person who voted against my reimbursement. And I would like to make a motion at this time to pull every conference reimbursement for all elected officials until such time that council establishes a written policy for all council people for conference reimbursement so that we all have to follow it. There was no grounds for denying mine, and you all did it anyway. So I would like to make it fair for everyone, including me, who has experienced difference of treatment on multiple occasions. I make a motion to pull every, just to re-clarify, table every conference reimbursement for all elected officials, since we should all be treated the same, until such time that city council establishes a written policy on conference reimbursements that we all have to follow. Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor to table. Is there a support? Is there support? Hearing no support, motion does not carry. We'll move on to the original motion. Is there any further discussion? Councilman Landau.
Thanks, President Godbout. There was a question at the podium asking if I submitted for authorization for training. I did, in fact, submit for authorization through the clerk's office and the council president and personnel. I have all the documentation here. If any of my colleagues would like to see it, I have a copy for everyone. Thanks.
Is there any further discussion on the vouchers? Any further discussion? Councilwoman Green.
Just for the record, I had copies available as well. And my motion, as you can see, anybody sitting in this room and anybody watching this on TV, the difference in how I'm being treated by this body and how they are allowing other elected officials reimbursement and denying mine. So I just want to state that for the record. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent.
I'm in dissent.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green.
No.
Councilman Hammonds is absent excused. Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson is absent excused. Councilman Londo.
Yes.
President Godbout.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We'll move on to citizens' comment or requests. Citizens will be recognized at the end of the meeting immediately following the agenda item, approval of vouchers. Citizens are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. All citizens wishing to speak will be heard. Everyone speaking before the council should do so in a civil manner. Speakers shall refrain from abusive or profane remarks, vulgar language, disruptive outbursts, threats, racial slurs, or other conduct that interferes with the orderly conduct of the business meeting. Personal attacks on council members, the administration, city staff, or other speakers, or other members of the public will not be tolerated. Is there anyone on my left?
Dan Stachow, Westland Veterans Memorial Day Parade Council. Just want to thank the City Council, Police Chief, Fire Chief, Mayor for approving the route that we have, the change. Should be a better venue for everybody, a little shorter for the veterans to walk, and greatly appreciate everything you've done to work with us. Thanks again.
Thanks, Dave. Anyone on my right? Anyone on my left? Ruth? Ruth?
Whoops. I have 4 thank yous to report on pertaining to historical. One is belated, sorry about that, and it's to Jeff Kozlowski. Jeff gave an Eloise lecture back in March at City Hall. We had about 52 to 55 people in attendance. His presentation was on a different perspective on the Eloise complex, and let me tell you, it was outstanding. So if he does a repeat on this, you won't want to miss it. Thank you, Jeff Kozlowski. Number 2, thanks to County Commissioner Glenn Anderson, who I reported the numerous, and I do mean numerous, amounts of potholes on northbound Middle Belt between my sub, Bedelt Street, and the south side of Hines Middle Belt Bridge. And now I don't have to drive with the left side of my car in one lane to avoid tire damage. Yep, I know, I was living on the edge. Thanks, Glenn Anderson. Third, a Good Samaritan story. A neighbor's daughter comes regularly to help her mom, arrived at my front yard with her lawnmower. She proceeded to mow my front and backyards yesterday. Thanks, Lynn Varick, for helping a senior citizen. Lastly, last Saturday, workday at the Historical Park for 2 historical commissioners, Michael McElhone, don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and Jonathan Hayes, and Historical Society member David Carrick, worked almost 6 hours nonstop for water was in the Octagon House basement, using brooms, 1 shop vac, and discovering no pump was in the sump. Has that sump been without a pump all this time? And have we been fortunate to have not had water problems before Saturday? My question, how soon before a pump can be purchased and placed in the sump? Right now we're using a DPS pump. Sump pump? Oh my God. It sounds like a Dr. Seuss talk. Sump pump. Oh. Thanks to a DPS person who loaded a loaner pump into David's car. Thanks to those 3 hardworking guys, again, Michael McElhone, Jonathan Hayes, and David Carrick. Thank you.
What am I right? Right?
I want to say good evening, everyone. And this is called Mental Health Awareness Month because mental health needs to be supported from people because, like I said, it can affect all of us. It can happen today or it can happen tomorrow. Because I'm going to walk a mile in my shoes, and what that is, could be friends, it could be anybody up there. And hopefully it's a big turnout because I go every year, and I'm going this year wearing my shirt as working with the legislature. I'm an ambassador now. Either wear a red ambassador shirt or I wear one for the legislatures, which I was up there a week ago, and it was really good, and people talking about mental health. Mental health is a really good thing. So I'm speaking at a Redford Library, matter of fact, the 13th, looking forward to with the legislature and talking about what services do they offer DWMHA. They do offer a lot of service. Let's say someone comes off the street, might be in a drug overdose, or someone might be in trouble or something, because sometimes people don't know where to go. And that's where we come in, and is trying to get rid of stigma and put it into a positive way. Put it into to people instead of looking at, oh, them people over there are, drug addicts, or they're, they got their own. No, it's not what it's about. You could be in that situation, and that's why I look at it with people. And this education is good for police officer, it's good for everybody, and fire departments and the community. I will be out there and doing quite a bit of this into the future. And there's I believe right now there's 19 of us. That people from recoveries, people from families, and I think this is a great thing that the Ambassadors Program is lifting off the ground. I'm going to be doing a webinar on my life about language. Well, language matters. Don't put the labels on the people. Let's put them on the cans. I want to say thank you.
One on my left. One on my right. Will Mr. Green? Oh.
First, I would like to wish all mothers happy Mother's Day, whether you're an adopted mother, a birth mother, or a father who's acting as a mother. Happy birthday. And to the City Council, boy, you guys look good. Good old boys with the good old action. So I'm expecting when election time comes, people look over report cards, because I'm one of those Me Too girls too. Thank you.
Anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Mr. Graham?
Richard Graham from Westland and also with Move Westland Forward. I concur. Happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. Good evening, council members, mayor and administration. We've been seeing over the last actually 24 hours today, the Westland Watchdogs has been reporting about major significant flood damage in various houses within Westland. The reports coming back on lots of the posts is the residents can't seem to get answers from the city. They're calling the city. There doesn't seem to be much help. They've gone to the city's website or the city's Facebook page, and nothing seems to be there. So just this has occurred over the last 6 hours, but it seems like there's a significant issue. It would be great if somebody from the city could advise maybe during the meeting of what is going on or what isn't going on, but lots of people with issues, and seems not to be getting answers from the city. The 2019 Real Estate Convention will be held this month in Las Vegas. This has been a very expensive trip year after year, costing about $10,000 per year, with frankly little to show. Question, for this year, what are the planned objectives and agenda? Who is going from council? Who is going from the city? Who are going that are involved with the city via contracts? Are wives, friends, significant others going? I'll pause there if you'd like to answer that now, or.
I'll answer my comments.
Council also.
We'll answer them during our comment section.
Okay, based on over 20 meetings held last year that the economic director supplied, how many led to new investments within the city? Expenses seem to be out of control, and council members take various trips for various reasons. This is very concerning to many residents. It is equally concerning what happened over the last few council members when Junior Councilman Hart took exception to Councilwoman Green's travel expenses. I have never seen this done, and especially when there is no policy. I do not think so, at least. I put in a FOIA for Junior Councilman Hart and Junior Councilman Landau, along with Council President Godbout. Their travel expenses from January of 18 to April of 19 was $5,000. Councilman Hart is $320, Councilman Landau is over $400, and Council President is over $4,200. Councilman, were all these pre-approved by your fellow council members? One of the questions I asked that wasn't answered, are we increasing the workforce of the police and fire, additional employees, so adding to that employment? Lastly, thank you, Councilman Landau, for clarifying regarding your voucher. It is interesting, it seems like Council President Godbout and Mayor Wild are the ones who are approving travel expenses or at least getting notification. So I found that interesting that those are the two involved with this also. Thank you.
Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? We'll close citizens' comments and move on to comments from the administration. Mayor?
Thank you, City Council. Thank you, residents, for coming out tonight. For those of you watching on TV tonight. All right, I got a few questions to answer here from the audience, so I'll just kind of jump in here from in no particular order. So there was question tonight about the city attending the International Shopping Centers Conference, which is, can't hear me? Is that better? All right, sorry, Ruth. I got an answer for your question too. So the city has been participating at the International Shopping Centers Conference probably for at least the last 10 years. So this year we're taking what's going to make up two teams. It's going to be myself. I'll be working with the Economic Development Director and the City Council President. It's going to be working with the Deputy Mayor, and we're going to have representation from the McKenna organization through a contract with both that's being split by the DDA and Tifa. Every year at this event, the first thing is it was brought up by the same gentleman that said that the city of Westland should have double-digit increases in businesses. Well, this is the place where the businesses gather for 1 week. So if you're not there, you're not there. So the city's been, we've participated, to have 20 meetings that was said for last year. That's an incredible amount of meetings over a couple period of days. I can tell you that we've attacked this thing in lots of different ways. I don't always attend, but when I think that there's value to having the mayor there, I do attend. This year, our major focus is, it's not a secret. We're going to be trying to spur development, find a developer to come in the former city hall site. That'll be our number one priority, is pushing the plan for the redevelopment of the former city hall site, which, there's been a visioning session and we've got a conceptual plan. So we'll be meeting with folks to let them know that opportunity is available. Secondly, will be our plan to redevelop the mall area over the next decade or so. That's the City Center project through TIFA. So we'll be spending the most of our time in front of potential people that would be looking at investments in those two projects. Then the third part, actually there's four parts. The third part is pretty much its relationships. This is where the city there's a lot of people that own property in Westland, and I'll just say the mall owner is one of those. This is the only place that you can pretty much get in front of these guys face to face. So while we'll certainly be meeting with the owners of the mall, but we also meet with several large retail property or commercial property owners about their investments, and most of these, investments, I'll use for an example, the plaza that's on Cherry Hill and Merriman Road, which is mostly made up of Kroger's, but this will be a chance. Every year we meet with the owners of that plaza, and it's led to future development on that site and expansion of Kroger's and so on and so forth. So this is the only place that we can really meet with those guys. We can have conversations on the phone, but to be in front of them is probably the best way to do it. And then the last part is just recruitment. This is a place where there's a lot of people, there's a lot of new franchisers, there's a lot of new businesses. When we first started doing this, very little action was happening in Michigan, but Michigan is a hot spot now, so we're certainly going to be in front of a lot of different people trying to bring business back to the city of Westland, and the competition is tough. When we go there, not only are we up against communities all across the country, but Canton Township sends a team every year, and they have a very organized team, and they do a good job. The city of Southfield actually has a booth set up every year, and they'll be trying to recruit people as well. There's been a lot of talk about, I'm going to move on now. There was a lot of talk over the last couple of meetings about the travel policy. The city of Westland does have a travel policy. It's an administrative policy that we operate through the personnel department. So under that travel policy, all the department heads travel. It has to be pre-approved. We've just recently, Stephanie, our HR director, just recently put some touch-up on that travel policy to add some of the new things now that are out there as far as Uber and Lyft, and there's several different classifications on airfare and so on and so forth. So she's made some final changes to that, so we've updated it. I had a conversation with the council president at one of the events this weekend. I told him I'd share that with city council, and maybe it'd be proper for the city council to add some travel policy language to their council policies and procedures. And that would be something that we would help them with and be supportive of. There was talk tonight on the budget. We're proud of this year's budget. Tonight was the open meeting. There was some misinformation presented tonight that this is, in some way, not a balanced budget. That is not true. This is a $68 million balanced budget. Our revenues are over our expenses, and we actually add $334,000 to the city's rainy day fund. So that gives the city unassigned, and that's the fund balance that we kind of talk about all the time. It's an unassigned fund balance of approximately $6.7 million. I can tell you that when I first got on the city council, and the council president was here then, that number was about $200,000. So while it's not extravagant, it is about 10% of our annual revenue. So we have made a lot of progress there. As far as police and firemen, there will be no additional police and fire hired in this budget over last year, but last year council had to make a financial decision. We had, and Steve Smith took a good swing at it. We had an expiring COPS grant where we had federally funded police officers, and we had an expiring firefighters grant where we had federally funded firefighters, and that funding was coming to an end. So what we agreed, working the administration and the council together, was that when that funding ran out, we weren't going to lay all those cops and firefighters off, but what we did do was we made a commitment to keep 4 of those police officers and 3 of those firefighters. And we did that, and then this proposed budget is the year that we had to pay for that because the federal funding was gone. So there is additional dollars. There's actually, this year in our police department alone, our police budget, the expenses are up about $1 million. Part of that is to pay for those police officers that were federally funded before. Part of it is because our the forfeiture laws in the state of Michigan are changing. So a lot of the dollars that we used to allocate to the forfeiture fund are going to come out of general fund now. But we're also purchasing 3 police vehicles for $127,000, various radios, vests. We're buying out the motorcycles, so that's about $227,000 in the police department. And we last year we entered into a finance arrangement to pay for our body cameras. So we have a lot of additional expense this year in police and fire. And the last thing I just remembered is that we also have 2 of our dispatchers that will not be moving over to Dearborn because they're very close to retirement. They're going to stay on and work in the police department, and that's going to be an expense that the police department will have to pick up. So our expenses at the police department are about $1 million this year. And with our firefighters, we're replacing safety equipment, which is expensive, and one of the admin vehicles is up for replacement. That's $133,000. And the payment for the fire truck, which we purchased last year, that's $110,000. So our expenses are up on public safety, so we're going to continue to work within our means and deliver exceptional service day in and day out. And we're very proud of the work that they're doing. There were a couple things on the agenda tonight that I thought were noteworthy. Under the consent calendar, didn't get a lot of attention, but the city of Westland did receive a grant to do sidewalk improvements along Marquette between Newburgh and Wayne Road. This is the area that a lot of students walk every day for John Glenn. There were gaps in our sidewalk there, so we were actually able to get a grant for about $285,000. The city's share is about $64,000 of that, but the work's going to begin immediately, and we're going to make those streets and sidewalks around John Glenn High School much safer moving forward. There was a couple proclamations on tonight's agenda. One of them was a partnership with the city of Westland, the Conference of Mayors of Major League Baseball, which was play ball, recognizing the summer of 2019 as play ball summer, and we did that event over the weekend at the kickoff of the WYA baseball event, and all of our kids that were participating got a free shirt from Major League Baseball, and we have about 6 that are left that I brought with me tonight. They're all adult small, so if that will fit you or somebody you know, you're certainly welcome to grab it. There was also a proclamation to establish May 7th as Michigan Foster Care Day, and I think we're blessed as a country that we have generous individuals and families who open up their houses to make sure that that children have a chance to grow up in a family style or family lifestyle. So we appreciate everybody that does that. The question came up about people with suffering from the recent high rains and floods, and I can tell you that what was said is, I don't know what social media says, and I don't care. I can tell you that what's really happened is that we probably had about 60 residents that were affected. Each and every person that called into the city of Westland received a phone call back from us. In several cases, we had people go out to their house, and I see somebody's waving off at me. So if we haven't got to you, then we want to get your information so we can get out there tomorrow. We are working with the county. They've asked us to pass information out to everybody affected, ask them to fill it out. As you know, the county declared an emergency. They're collecting information. They're going to forward it to the state. The state is going to request FEMA to open up their funding. So the more people that can fill out these forms and send them in, the better chance that the state of Michigan and Wayne County has of getting FEMA dollars. This does not guarantee that you're going to receive any funding. It's something that we're encouraging everybody, and everybody that called the city got a phone call or they got an email that told them how to do this. And if there's somebody that didn't, Ramsey stayed around tonight because he wants to talk with you. So at this point, we have 53 people that have turned in those documents. The fire chief actually has been handling the emergency coordination on this part to us, and you saw me step out with him earlier just to get that exact number, but at this point, we turned in the first batch today, thank you. The question was, is there a deadline on this? We turned in the 53 that were today, but there's not a deadline. The county's encouraging us to continue to get information. And don't feel, if yours didn't come in today, it's okay. We're going to still collect that information. They're going to ask us to continue to forward them all the contacts that we get. Hopefully the governor and through our state reps and state senators can make their case at the federal level to bring in funding for this. So it's something that we'll definitely stay on top of. Just the last thing that I wanted to mention is that Thursday night, May 9th, here at Westland City Hall is our annual Wild About Youth Work Summer Employment Program for children. Right now, we have, through the Economic Development Department, secured 150 jobs. At this point, we have, as of tonight, I think we had about 67 students that have signed up. So this is open to any resident of Westland, any youth that's in the city of Westland, or if you attend any of the schools in Wayne, Westland, or Livonia. All you have to do is be here 5:30 Thursday this week, and this is our 9th year. And our goal is to connect every student that wants to work this summer with a job, and we've got 150 jobs to do that with. So with that, once again, if there's anybody that's in the audience tonight that would like to talk with us about the flooding situation, we'll certainly stick around and get their information. Thank you.
Anything from the city attorney's office?
Thank you, Council President. Although I'm reluctant to weigh in on the council's travel and conference reimbursement, I did want to point out that should the council have a subcommittee that works on a written policy relative to travel and conference reimbursement, council should remember that this is a council policy. It will not apply to city employees. The mayor's already explained that there's a city employee policy, and it will not, a city council policy will not apply to other elected officials. It won't apply to the judges, won't apply to the mayor, it won't apply to the clerk. So I think, again, as you go forward and consider this issue, please keep in mind that area that it can actually cover. Thank you.
We'll move on to council comments. Councilwoman Green.
I'd like to start by congratulating the firefighters, the Westland firefighters, on the great job that they do here in our city. They had their annual ball this past Saturday, which was really nice to be able to meet many of them that I have not yet met. It was a really nice occasion, and I'd just like to say thank you and keep up the good work. I definitely support you all. I'd like to also encourage residents who would like to get in touch with me. I want to let you know that there's going to be some upcoming meetings that I am having, and one in particular is one that I am going to need your help with, and I believe it will benefit the residents of Westland throughout the city. And so please follow my Facebook page if you have access to a computer. My Facebook page is Councilwoman Tasha Green, or you can give me a call if you don't have access to internet at 734-828-66 7010. Again, my intent is to do as much as I can for the city before my 4-year term is up. So thank you. I wanted to just state in reference to what the city attorney stated and the vote that took place here tonight. I believe that the actions of the men that I serve with is blatantly discriminatory. And there is no difference between me and them, but I'm clearly being treated differently. My mouth fell open to find out that 3 of them have received $5,000, roughly, without me looking at it, according to one of the residents who did a FOIA, roughly $5,000 since January, and to deny me. And as you saw tonight, not one of them would support my motion. So that tells you they don't even want us to be treated the same. They do not want a policy. And I would like to state through the chair to the mayor, there is a constant recurrence among this body that nobody wants to look bad. So it's always we get out here and we, say this, that, and the other. If you don't want to look bad, then don't do anything to look bad. You stated that there was a conversation that you had with council about revising our policy. I sat here and asked for that tonight. You saw how they voted. You not once had a conversation with me, so I don't know who council is. And I would think, because I was the one impacted, and clearly everybody else is getting reimbursed with not an issue. And I was treated in an irregular fashion. I would think that you would say, Councilwoman Green, let's talk about this policy, we'll come up, but you didn't do that. So you're saying on camera that you've had a conversation about revising it. If that were the case, they would not have voted against the motion that I made tonight to even sit down and let's put something in writing so we're all treated the same. They don't want that. So please, I have a serious doubt whether or not that comment is even factual. And again, I was not included in that conversation per usual. So with me being the one impacted, I would think that I would have at least been, and I am counsel, that I would have known about it. Through the chair to the city attorney, I would like to state that, as I stated earlier, the policy that the mayor spoke to is for city employees. So we don't, as you said, there is no policy that we have, and there was no grounds or basis for my reimbursement to be denied. So just keep in mind, a lot of and they don't want to look bad, but facts are facts. And you can't explain that, but they'll come up with something because they know people are watching and listening. But you just saw their actions here tonight. So let the truth be the truth, and you make the determination of whether or not you believe what they're stating here is for show or factual. I wanted to state that, as the mayor stated, there is no increase in the next budget to police and fire. And I am 100% in support of police and fire. I am in support of adding additional staff to their force. I did contact City Council. I sent an email asking them, can we sit down and discuss how we could possibly add to police and fire, or to come up with a resolution, something to resolve this issue. None of them responded. I just want to put that out there because how we get on camera and we want to look good, and half the time it's not true. None of them responded. And so due to that, I was prepared I have an excellent relationship with labor. Most of the union presidents, I know them all very well, locally and statewide. I have an excellent relationship. I was prepared to gather signatures to petition the city to help police and fire in the manner of a millage. But after speaking recently with one of the members within the fire department that I will not name, I was told that There's the SAFER grant that we're waiting on. There's a grant that we're waiting on, and we will not know if we get this particular grant until the month of September. And so if we get this grant, from what I was told, we're going to be looking at a likelihood of bringing in up to 13 police and fire. So what I was told was, thank you, because initially I was asked to move forward. But with that being the case, we're going to wait and see if we get this grant, which will help them. And if we don't get this grant, expect me to be knocking on your door next year to get it on the ballot, because enough is enough. I also wanted to wish everybody a happy Mother's Day. Thank you to all the women who make a difference in the lives of kids, all the teachers, our local superintendent, the mothers in the community, and those who are just provide a safe haven for our babies. Happy Mother's Day. And finally, I just wanted to tell the community, as I stated before, and I'm not your average politician, as you all know. I was just elected as a politician, but I represent the people. You senior citizens, when elections happen, and not just locally here in Westland, senior citizens, please know that you will be targeted. You are going to be targeted as a senior citizen, because everyone knows that senior citizens have the largest voting block, not only here in our city, but in most places. So seniors, when we come to your door and we stand up and tell you how much of a man or a woman of God we are, ask yourself if we walk that walk. Because if you are a man or a woman of God, and I've heard that before, you cannot treat people in a certain type of way and lay down and rest without being convicted. Seniors, you will be targeted in the manner of ice cream. They're going to bring you ice cream. They're going to bring you fruit, cookies, donuts. Please do not let your vote be reduced to a refreshment. Do not allow your vote to be reduced to a refreshment. If we are not representing your interest, your vote is your voice, and you have the opportunity to do that. And I would encourage you, when we come to your door and you start to get literature, and many of it may be red, white, and blue, and plenty of stars and very professionally done, peel back the layers on these onions before you be left, lest you be left in tears. Do not allow your vote to go on to someone who will not represent your interests, or someone who wants to advance politically, or someone who knocked on your door before, lied to your face, and then came in here and voted against you. So use your voice when you vote, and vote for people who are going to stand up for you. And if we don't stand up for you, and including me, if I sit here for 4 years and I don't stand up for you, vote me out. And if you vote for me again in 4 years, you deserve what I have shown you that I will give you. So use your voice at the voting polls. And that's not just locally, that there's elections all over. And with that, I will once again wish everybody a happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Mayor?
Hey, Council President, I'd just like to clarify, when I said that I had a conversation with council, what I actually said was I had a conversation with the council president at one of the events this weekend. So there was comment that came back after that. I just wanted to make sure that my comments were represented the right way. And on another note, I can tell you that those last statements have no business here in the city council chambers. Those are political statements that we've never allowed in the council chambers before. So I think that we're walking a fine line, and I'm not going to tell you guys how to run your council meetings, but I can tell you that I've been around long enough that those comments have no place here in front of this at the city council doing the business of this city. We've never allowed it before.
Through the chair to the mayor, he went through the chair to me. I'd like to respond. Respectfully, Mayor Weil, I will watch the video back, and I will offer you an apology if that is what you said. I do not recall you saying you spoke to the council president. But if you did, I will watch the video back and I will apologize. However, my position stands. This is regarding me. The council president put the motion on the floor and I am being discriminated against. So for you to talk to him and not even include me when they are approving everything for each other, I feel that that is totally unfair. And in terms of the language, if you want to censor my language, let it be in writing along with this travel policy, or that will be another issue that I raise. Thank you.
Councilman Hart.
Good evening. First of all, happy Mother's Day this weekend to all the mothers, especially the one at my house who acts as mother to me half the time, as well as our 3 kids. It's not an easy job, so happy Mother's Day. Make sure you keep me in line, especially this weekend, and Sunday is definitely all your day. So keep me in line. Happy Mother's Day. A couple events coming up. May 18th is going to be really big in the city of Westland. We have a couple events going on. First is going to be the North Brothers hosts its 21st annual 5K. It will be on Saturday, May 18th, and each year the proceeds from the race are donated to the Barbara Ann Karmanos Cancer Institute. As you all know, is a premier cancer research and treatment facility located here in Detroit. I would not have the beautiful mother in my house that we're going to celebrate Mother's Day this weekend if it wasn't for the fine work of the Karmanos Cancer Institute. So you have the opportunity to run, walk, jog, crawl, or whatever you'd like to do on May 18th. It starts at 8 a.m. It is, again, sponsored by the North Brothers. It'll be at Tatton Park. Registration starts at 8 a.m. At the farmer's market, and the fee is $27 for students, 18 and under, or $35 for adults. So hope to see you there. Once you're done running, run right on over to the Bova Post. Bova Post, 9885 on 6440 North Hicks Road, as we celebrate Armed Forces Day. Armed Forces Day is another holiday that we have to respect and honor our men and women who have served in uniform. And there are going to be a number of things going on. The public is invited. Also, it'll be a joint operation with a number of VFW posts, a couple American Legion posts, as well as our Boy Scout troop that the Bova Post sponsors will be there. They will be doing a flag retirement ceremony. So if you've never seen a flag retirement ceremony, come on out, see it. It's a very respectful, somber event, and you're going to see a lot of veterans get teary-eyed. But it's really good, and also they're offering to retire any flags that you bring as well. So if you have a flag that needs retiring, come out to that as well. The event starts at 1 and the ceremony begins at 3 o'clock. So be sure to bring a flag for that. With that, I'd like to congratulate Leslie and Alex for their appointments today to the TIFA. And I will close again with one more time, making sure I say Happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Councilman Londo.
Thank you, President Gabon. I also want to start off by congratulating both Leslie and Alex on their appointments to the Economic Development Authority and the LDFA. Look forward to working with both of you. And just a few more comments on what was talked about tonight about the travel. I went through the council president and personnel. I apologize to the clerk. I did go through the clerk. He kicked it to personnel. That's who signed the document that allowed me to go. That was this past weekend. As stated earlier, it was Elected Officials Academy Advanced Leadership Weekender event, where we talked about municipal budgeting 101, Save My City, which talked a lot about state shared revenue losses, funding community projects, financial statements and audits, utility rate studies, and priority-based budgeting. And actually, 4 of us all went to myself, Councilwoman Green, Councilman Hersberg, and Councilman Hart all went last year, and I believe we all got pre-approval. I'm not sure. I believe we did, though, as new council people. I believe so, but I could be wrong. A few things that were on the agenda tonight. I was happy to see the purchase of the 8 LiDAR units, 12 in-vehicle radar units, 4 radar speed trailers, and 14 radar speed limit signs. These upgrades will allow our police department to better enforce speed limits within the city, reducing accidents, reducing traffic infractions, and increasing safety for motorists and non-motorists alike. I was also very happy to see the city adopt a resolution of intent to participate in the Redevelopment Ready Communities program with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. That's in an effort to attract and support more business opportunities here in the city of Westland. And there's a lot of excitement for the Memorial Day Parade. I want to thank Dan and the entire committee, and also Vic Barra and all the folks that are putting in a lot of hard work and sweat equity to bring this parade back. to the city of Westland and everyone that's promoting it, so please help promote it and spread the word. And for all the participants that are going to be involved, please review the new rules. There are some new rules, and also the new parade route as was touched upon earlier. I had a chance to attend the 64th annual NAACP Fight for Freedom dinner last night at Coble Hall, which was actually, I found out, the largest dinner in America. So I want to thank my colleague, Councilman Hart, for the invitation on behalf of his company, Verizon. We had a great time. There were some great speakers, and the keynote speaker was actually Honorable Kamala Harris, the United States Senator out of the state of California. I had a chance to speak with Commissioner Anderson today about Wayne Road and plans on possibly fixing it. We get a lot of requests for road funding or road projects. He's indicated that he's requested for a rebuild many times, and the county just seems to only do patchwork. It's on the list of road funding if the governor's proposal passes. We all know that's a possibility, but possibly it won't, so we'll keep our fingers crossed on that one. And then the Farmers and Artisan Market opens Thursday. Opening day is Thursday, May 16th, and that's from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Farmers and Artisan Marketplace on Carlson Road at Central City Park and Tatton Park. They have spring flowers for sale. They'll have live music. They'll have all kinds of giveaways. So make sure to follow the Westland Farmers and Artisan Marketplace on Facebook if you want more information. This is the first of many farmers market events that'll be going on every Thursday from 3 to 7 p.m. And then to help you get rid of gently used items and make a little money at the same time, the city of Westland is offering permit-free garage sale weekends the weekend of May 17th through 19th. On those days, residents can host a garage sale or a yard sale and avoid the normal $5 permit fee. As an added bonus incentive to participate and to help your sale be successful, the city will help promote your sale for free on our city's website, so you can visit cityofwestland.com to learn more and to register your sale to send buyers right to your door. Currently, we have 77 sales registered to our website, so if you're a garage sale shopper, get on there and check out some of the great deals. There's an interactive map, so thank you to our IT department for putting that together for us. And then just a couple quick things. I made my comments at previous meetings in regards to some of the things that were talked about tonight. There has been threats of litigation, so I'm not going to comment any further on some of that stuff. And then I'll agree with the mayor. I believe that we shouldn't be campaigning at the dais. I believe 2 council members were actually cited for it at one point. So I will not ever campaign from the dais up here. And then lastly, happy Mother's Day to everyone, and have a blessed Ramadan to all those who celebrate it. And then I'll also stick around for any folks in the audience that need help. Thanks.
Councilman Hersberg.
Thank you. Just in regards to the parade, the route is changed. It's not going to be on Ford Road anymore. We've had this discussion, I think, the past 3 or 4 years, at least that I've been here, and it seems like several people in the city would like to see the route changed, so I voted in support, but in previous years, I voted against any amendment to that. I like to have the parade on Ford Road. I think it was maybe the last parade that anywhere on Ford Road, but at least we're still going to have it. Thanks for everybody for supporting it. And then I just wanted to touch on the question from Mr. Graham about additional police and fire in our budget. That's something I've always supported. This year's a little bit different. We've made additions the past couple of years, and at this point, we're budgeted for more positions than we have. There's open spots in both departments right now, so we could increase the staff number. It wouldn't make a difference until they fill up the spots that are already open right now. And that's not something that can be fixed with, adding additional people in the departments or grant money. We're not competing well with other cities and retaining some of these positions within the unions. So they have union agreements that starts between the administration and the unions, and then it comes to council. This year, we only gave a 1% increase. We need to do more in that regard. So next time those union agreements come forward, we're going to have to look at trying to compete better with neighboring cities to retain some of those employees. I think that's it. Thanks.
I'd like to start by thanking David Zox and Sophia Juhas, the 2 4th-grade students from Edison Elementary, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I too would like to congratulate Leslie and Alex and thank them for stepping forward to serve on the TIFA board and the LDFA board. Those positions are needed, and they do a lot of good work in trying to make sure that projects and work gets done in their appropriate districts. Again, the farmers market opening is Thursday, May 16th from 3 to 7 p.m. On the budget, we've had the public hearing tonight on the budget, and I've asked my council colleagues to get back to me by Friday with any items or departments that still need to be addressed so that we can schedule a wrap-up study session. I would like to extend my condolences to the family of Michelle Bracey, the former Deputy Director of the Youth Assistance Program, who lost her battle with cancer this afternoon. I just received a text message on it right before the meeting started. I too would like to wish all the mothers and the mother figures happy Mother's Day this weekend on Sunday, and I'd also like to wish my wife a happy birthday, whose birthday always happens to fall right around Mother's Day. So, and then there were a lot of discussion again on a travel policy for council. Council in the past has never had a travel policy. Council members would go to conferences, training sessions, and submit their expenses for those. Until this year, all of those, at least as far as I can remember, going back a lot of years, all of those training programs and sessions, or the majority of them, because there may be one or two exceptions out there, were programs put on by the Michigan Municipal League or SEMCOG for attendance within the state for those training programs. The one exception was this year, where the travel was to Washington, D.C. And it was purely for a hotel bill. There was no conference registration attached to it, as I previously mentioned. So we will be addressing a travel policy, since it seems to be that we need to now have a travel policy in place. How and where that's going to come about, and what, if any, approvals would be required will be up to council to decide. As the mayor indicated, it's not up to the administration or the clerk's office to make those determinations. Is there a motion to adjourn?